Hey there guys, Elita Legionarii here, and today it's finally here, the Siege of Acre, the promised historical battle reenactment that I've uploaded a million updates for. I've actually finally got it here and ready to go for you today, which is absolutely fantastic because this battle almost did not make it, and let me go into a little bit of an explanation as to why that happened. We did the battle on the Saturday, like at the normal dates that I said that we'd be doing them at, and times and stuff, and it worked fantastically. It played brilliantly. There was no hitches or nothing, but we made one crucial error at the end of the battle. When it comes to the end, when you do scenario battles in Medieval 2 Total War, there is no save option in the scenario section. You do a scenario, but there's no save button. You can't save them. So what happened was we did this awesome siege reenactment of the Siege of Acre, but we couldn't save it because the save option wasn't there. And as you can imagine, we were hugely disappointed, immensely so. In fact, just a few hours ago, I created a video explaining why I wasn't able to upload it to you guys because of the fact that I couldn't save it because it was a scenario battle, and the scenario battle doesn't have a save option. But since then, with that video, I had it up for about an hour and a half, and I got a message from one of my viewers, Frederick Smith. And Frederick said there is a method you can use to save battles that are scenario battles if you bring up the console command and save it like manually. I tried that, but it didn't actually work, and I was about to give up on it again. But I was inside the Medieval 2 directory, and I looked inside there, and I saw a folder that was called Temp, and I was just looking around at every folder to see if there was some means of actually putting a save option inside the scenarios, and just looking around, and I found this folder called Temp, and I went inside this folder called Temp, and I noticed that it saved the previous battle you did, regardless of what type of battle it was. If it was a campaign battle, if it was a scenario battle, if it was an online multiplayer battle, it saved it in this temporary folder. Now, unfortunately for me, the Siege of Acre was not the last battle I did. I had done a bit of campaign, and a campaign video was in there, or a campaign battle was in there, and I was like, damn it. But it turns out one of the guys who played in the battle, Polish Legion, he had not played Medieval 2 since Saturday, and thank God for that, because his previous battle was the Siege of Acre. So he ends up sending it to me on emails it through to me, and I ended up renaming it and pasting it inside the replays folder. So basically, long story short, I can actually bring you the Siege of Acre, but as you can see, it almost never happened. So in future, we're aware of this, so it won't happen again, but thankfully it almost didn't come to you guys, but thanks to a bit of perseverance on my part and some excellent advice on Frederick Smith and some help from Polish Legion, we've managed to actually save this battle, because it really was a masterful battle. It was brilliant, so it's going to be a fantastic kick-off to the historical reenactment series. So without further ado, let's sit back and enjoy the Siege of Acre. Now, Siege of Acre was 1189 to 1191, and it was considered probably the biggest battle of the Third Crusade. And obviously it took 2 years, but we can't make a battle take 2 years. But we've represented it as best as we can. You'll remember that the Emperor of the Great Unknown sent us his own scenario battle of it. It was known as a double siege because the Crusaders were sieging Acre, but they themselves had been sieged by 2 Saracen armies led by Saladin himself. So it's been represented that way in this scenario created for us. So anyway, commanding the Holy Roman Empire is the SwedishLandsknekt. So he has the German Crusaders that were under the command of Leopold and Frederick VI of Swabia. Then we have Polish Legion, who is France, the one who generously actually still had this replay, so thank you, Polish, for not playing Medieval 2 for a few days. You saved our asses. He's got France, and that was under the command of King Philip of France, Philip Augustus. And then I've got England, which was under the command of Richard the Lionheart. Now, the Emperor of the Great Unknown told me that for the here's Richard here, for the Siege of Acre, he's made Richard and Saladin, their bodyguards, quite a bit stronger than traditional bodyguards, like in terms of how hard the actual individual general unit is to kill, which ends up leaving us with some pretty fun, exciting stuff towards the end of the fight, but I won't let too much away. And then we have Pixelated Apollo commanding the Jerusalem force and the Templar force, because there was only 7 players in this battle. We couldn't do the 8-player version. The Templar force and the Kingdom of Jerusalem force are just combined as the one Kingdom of Jerusalem, and he's commanding the forces led by King Guy of Jerusalem, and that's him there, and the Grand Master of the Templar Order is also, he's got the Templar forces, the Marshal of the Templars, that's Gerard Rochfield, I always forget his name, but anyway, he's got both of those forces combined into one. So if we have a look at my build first as the English Crusaders, I have 2 units of Crusader Sergeants, which is Spearmen, 2 Archer Militia, one of these Flagellants, which I think like a Pilgrim style unit, 1 Levy Spearman, I believe it was, 1 Unhorsed Knight, as you can see here, very cool unit, and then I got 4 Dismounted Feudal Knights, I have Richard's Bodyguard, Crusaders Knights, and 1 Feudal Knight Cav, and then a Trebuchet. So it's very important that I look after my Trebuchets, because I, like Polish, am one of the 2 players who have to make sure he actually can get inside the city. Polish, with his French army, has 2 units of mercenary crossbowmen, 1 general's bodyguard, 1 mercenary Frankish knight, and then it's let's see, he's got 3 units of dismounted feudal knights. Now his feudal knights are a bit stronger than everyone else because they're up to plate armor defense, so they've got defensive upgrades. Then he's got some spear militia and some Pisan and Genoese sailors, and then he's got some Frankish axemen. So that's his force with the trebuchet, so he has to do a good job of defending the trebuchet. And SwedishLandsknekt's force, he has, let's see, his general's bodyguard, this is Leopold, here he is here. Then we have the Armenians of Cilicia, 2 pilgrims, we have 2 unhorsed knights, 2 dismounted feudal knights, and 2 dismounted Frankish knights, which is spearmen, but they're quite significantly stronger spearmen. And then he's got 2 spear militia. That's his force. Then we look at probably what I consider the strongest army on the field is the Jerusalem army under Pixelated Apollo. The reason I say it's so strong is because it's got such good cavalry in the army. He's got 2 Templar sergeants. Then he's got, let's see, he's got 1 Templar crossbowman, 2 squires of Tripoli, 3 dismounted knights of Jerusalem, 2 Frankish axemen. He's got the Great Cross, which is going to be enormously helpful in this fight for boosting morale. He's got King Guy's bodyguard. Then he's got the Constable of Jerusalem, which is an awesome cavalry unit. Double strength cavalry unit. So it does twice as many men. It kicks most any cav's ass, really, just on sheer weight of numbers. So it's very, very dangerous. Then he's got the very excellent Marshal of the Templar units. This unit has got the same stats as a normal Knights Templar, but it's got 2 hit points like a General's Bodyguard, and we all know as medieval 2 players how strong General's Bodyguard units are. So imagine a General's Bodyguard unit with about an extra 10 or 15 men in it with the 2 hit points. It's an enormously strong cavalry unit. Then he's got 2 regular Knights Templars, which are also strong. So it's very powerful cavalry wise, and it's supported by some pretty decent infantry units, and with the Great Cross, this is probably the best of the crusading armies, which makes sense to me because the Kingdom of Jerusalem was the major kind of crusader power in the region, although it had lost significant power at this point because Jerusalem had been lost 2 years earlier to Saladin's forces. But this was an attempt to take it all back in the Third Crusade. I highly recommend, guys, to actually look up the specifics on the Third Crusade. I don't know a whole lot. I know just a little bit here and there. But that's basically a crusading team, and our plan is to work very quickly to destroy these 2 Egyptian armies out here before we move on to the centre. So let me just go triple speed. Here we go. So having a look at our opponents, we have Captain Invisible, who commands the Egyptian army on the right. I think this one's actually Saladin's army. I think. Might not be, but I think it is. He's got 3 Ghulam cavalry, which are a pretty decent medium sort of heavy cavalry unit. Not as good as our cavalry, but it's still in good numbers and can be a pretty good threat to us. Then he's got 2 dismounted Ghulam, which are a mace arm unit, and that's what the good thing about the Ghulam is. They have mace arms, they're good in a grind down with armor piercing. 2 Al-Haqqa infantry, which is as good as our feudal knights, or not quite as good, but very close. Then he's got 1 unit of Abid al-Shira, which is a missile archer unit, and of course I think this is Saladin's bodyguard unit here. I think Captain Invisible had Saladin, but it might not be, because maybe it was Vet from the Brotherhood who had him. I'm not sure, I can't remember. But Vet's army consists of, he's more skirmish but more cav strength. He's got a bodyguard at 41 in strength. Then he's got a Kazaki at 50. This is an extremely good piece of cavalry. Very well upgraded, very good stats. It's a very good cavalry unit, very dangerous. That is definitely a threat to us of significant size. Then he's got some Saracen militia, Al-Haqqa infantry, and desert archers. He's also got 2 of these Sibyan al-Khas, which is a very heavy and very dangerous horse archer unit. So that's their army. And of course defending, it's not complete without this guy, Paladinbob. Nothing's complete without Paladinbob in these Total War games. Bob was wanting to defend the city, which is not a big surprise. He loves his defences. He likes to show us the old school style battles in defence. He'll show us how it's done. Anyway, his army consists of some dismounted Arab cav, 2 Kazaki infantry. He's got, I think, 1, 2... It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of these Abid al-Shira, which are an archer unit. He makes devastatingly good use of them in this fight. He does not make our life easy with those. Then he has, I know he's got 2 units of these Al-Haqqa infantry, which are a threat because they're at 71 in strength, so with those numbers they're about a match for our feudal knights. Not quite as strong statistically, but there's more of them in numbers, so it's pretty much a threat to us, pretty big threat to us. And he's also got out here somewhere, probably in hiding now because I can't seem to see it, but he's got a Hashashim, which was of great concern to us. And he's also got a Ghazis, whatever they are, light infantry. So our plan is leave some spears or some crappy infantry just to screen the trebuchets, because we need those, and we're going to concentrate combined fire on this wall and then this wall, and then as many other walls as we can together to get as much entries. That's my and Polish's job. Now what we're going to do here is we can't muck around for very long, so we need to push quite aggressively against this. We need to quickly destroy Captain Invisible and Vet very quickly, and in relatively good order too, because if we take too many losses we will not be able to take the city from Paladinbob. Fortunately Bob has not really got the tools to come out and assist his allies, so these 2 are on their own, and we can make use of our much superior numbers to take advantage here. Now we have the infantry advantage, we also have the cavalry advantage, but they definitely have the missile advantage. So out here we can see that Vet has already started skirmishing with the Marshal of the Templars and the Constable of Jerusalem, which he's already knocked 15 cavalry out of just with these horse archers. And he does a really nice and devastating job on a lot of infantry units and cavalry units here. However, had I been in his position, I actually would have gone and tried killing both trebuchet units. And I would have taken pot shots at some of these cav at the same time, because if he kills these trebuchet, we can't get inside of Acre, and if we can't get inside of Acre, then we're just going to lose, because the whole point is to take Acre off them. But anyway, what we're doing here is I'm going to push up with my spear units, try and screen the approach, and myself and Polish Legion and Swedes with his 1 general's bodyguard are going to push quite aggressively on the left. And we're going to try and make a breakthrough here, while Pixelated Apollo is going to fight more directly in the centre here. that's the general plan. I've sent my archers to help Apollo because he's under most of the missile threat, so I'm sending my archers to help him, but they're only archer militia, which are not that great, to be honest. But we can't muck around too long because we'll just wear us down, and the more we're worn down, the less effective it's going to be, because we have to think in the long term, because we've got to win this fight and then we've got to still take Acre as well. So we have to win this fight outside really quickly and really decisively, otherwise it's going to be hard for us. But we do have the numerical advantage, so we're going to make as much use of that as possible. So out here you can see that these Templar crossbowmen are fighting away with these horse archers, which are in loose formation. They probably would have been better to have actually gone into circle, Cantabrian circle here, or even make a quick cav charge against these crossbowmen. I think he'd probably be alright, but it appears Apollo was working out that's probably what might happen, so he's got some Templar sergeants screening. However, he really needs to have his Templar sergeants up here, because here you can see he's pushing his 3 Knights of Jerusalem up, which is leaving them exposed to a counter cav strike here from Vet. He's got his own cav behind, but if Vet is fast enough, he can hit these guys and then disengage before these cav can actually hit them. So he either needs to get his cav closer to them to support, or get some spears ready to screen. And Vet sees the opportunity coming up, so he pushes out. That's Captain Invisible pushes out here, I think going for some of these units here, but I push my spearmen forward to block it. Now I'm going to pause because I don't want to miss things, but it's probably likely I might. As you can see, between myself, Polish and Swedes, we are pushing around the left flank here quite significantly, and that's what we're trying to do, and then that's causing Captain Invisible to pull back. So here we see Captain Invisible takes advantage of this, as does Vet, and they get some thunderous charges in on these Knights of Jerusalem. This is really bad for Apollo, and he loses half the numbers in all these heavy infantry units almost immediately. And as I said, he has time to disengage. So, and then these guys kind of get clumped up here, and the missile fire will come down on them, and then a lovely flank charge here. Going to pause again because I don't want to miss things. A good cav charge comes in from the side and the front from Vet, and it's going to do a lot of damage to these cav, and then fire arrows come in there. On the other flank, myself and Swedes push forward with our cav, our generals units. Our infantry is pushing up here, and Polish Legion's going to support in here. We're trying to catch as many out. As you can see, some of these cav try coming through, but they get blocked by the Saracen militia, which does quite a bit of damage to them, and they're isolated, so they get routed quickly. These generals' bodyguards are pushing in here, and so far he's got enough units in support, but he really could have done better to wait for that great cross to catch. Over here we managed to get more of our guys engaged. I'm pushing my infantry forward. Swedes has already begun engaging his infantry here. I see there's a last gap through here, so I'm going to actually start pushing infantry through here and try and round this area, because as you can see, here's the bodyguard here, and I think this is Saladin's unit, so I want to try and catch him and kill him, because if we kill Saladin, it will do a lot of damage to their team morale. Over on the other side, I would say that Vet's actually starting to get the edge here in this fight, because he got those better cav charges at the start. As you can see, he's pushing through and he's getting some of these generals units in the back here. I was probably a little slow here with my spear units. I should have got them into the fight sooner to help him out, because he's getting rear charged here. We make a breach into Acre's walls there to get ourselves in. Up here, though, I was focusing quite heavily on my infantry route, trying to flank and break through here, and as you can see, we get a good route going through all the way through here between myself, Swede and Polish. I engage my spearmen now, but I see that several of the Jerusalem units are routing and there's a danger to them, so I'm sending cav to them now. I'm sending Richard and I'm sending the feudal knights to them, because as you can see, myself, Swedes and Polish are wrapping up Captain Invisible on this flank pretty effectively. So I said to Swedes and Polish, get over to Apollo's side. He needs it quickly, because he's going to probably lose at this rate, or he's going to lose too many men, and we need to conserve men for the main siege. So I get a nice rear charge through here. As you see, Polo's coming as well. Not Polo, sorry. Polish is coming, and he gets a real charge on this general's bodyguard unit. And it's pretty even over here, but we've managed to achieve a decisive breakthrough on the left, or our left and their right, breaking through on Captain Invisible's side there. and then we're going to push out with our cav units. Vet and Captain Invisible make a good move. They disengage their bodyguards in Kazaki, and they're going to go after these trebuchets now, which is a very good move. And they're also going to try and conserve them for later on in the fight, which turns out to be problematic for us. As you can see, Captain Invisible is now charging at my my trebuchet here, but I'm going to reinforce my my pilgrim style units here and try and use them to screen this charge. I said to Polish, get you guys tighter and just defend yours, we'll let them waste time on mine. So as long as we defend at least one of these, we'll be alright. At this stage, as you can see, once we pull our guys in over here, we managed to mop up the rest of Vet and Captain Invisible's forces over here, and we still have fairly good numbers. I see that Polish has pinned these guys here, so I'm going to bring my feudal knights into the flank and run them down, and we get a nice rout on those guys. So we managed to win this pretty decisively. As you can see, Swedes has still got good numbers of infantry. I have still got good numbers of infantry, as you can see, and so does Polish. So we did well infantry wise, but because he got some really bad cav charges made against him, Apollo has lost a significant number of his men. It's why he needed his spears to screen up the front there, because he lost a lot of his infantry in those initial charges, lost at least half of them, and then when that followed up with more charges and more infantry from Vet, he was in quite a bit of trouble, and a lot of his cav he tried reinforcing and then they got a bit stuck. He lost quite a few men, but fortunately we were able to get a breakthrough on the other flank, and that enabled us to roll it up and come to his assistance as quickly as possible. But here's where it is this move here is critical by Vet and by Captain Invisible. We've managed to defend our trebuchet. Although my trebuchet has been severely weakened, Polish's is fine. He has not taken any losses to his, so we're going to be able to still continue attacking. I sent my own general here for this. Was a bit risky, but I wanted to catch the guys out, but I thought I had more supporting units, but I was going to bring this unit around behind and flank him, and I did get probably a slightly, actually no, that charge, they cancelled each other out in their charge. I was hoping to get these bodyguards, but unfortunately they're going to manage to retreat them within Siege of Acre, and this is crucial. Later on in the battle, this will make a big difference because of these bodyguards. I really wish we had got these bodyguards sooner out here in the battle, but it just didn't turn out that way. But overall, we have pretty decisively defeated their outer components, but there was some pretty nasty losses to Apollo because he got some pretty bad cav charges against him. But if we look inside the city, Bob has set up his defences. He's put a lot of his archers on the walls. A good move, because we don't have a lot of means to get onto his walls. We still have to try and get through this hole. I mean, this is the only place that we can come through at the moment, and this is what always kind of worried me about this siege, was there's only 2 siege gear, and it's very tricky to get in to the castle. But fortunately we were able to rescue our trebuchets from being destroyed, because had they destroyed those trebuchets earlier, before we'd made any breaches, we'd be stuck. There'd be no way in, and they'd win by default. So that is why we were kind of apprehensive about that. So I'm just going to go to triple speed for the now, because this battle's still got a long way to go. We're actually only, in fact, a third of the way through it. So I hope you enjoyed that action there, because there's still a lot to come. But there we go, we've reached our second layer of defense, or second wall, so we have 2 entry points, but by this point we're quite low on ammo, and we're going to try and work on breaching this one and hopefully have 3 entry points. And if we have 3 entry points, we can get our numbers down fairly quickly, because it's always important in a siege to get multiple entry points, because multiple entry points enable you to rather quickly get inside in numbers en masse, which is what you want. You don't want to be jammed up and stuck at one entry point and taking missile fire, which is what often happens. So these Bedouin camels I think are trying to shoot at Polish Legion's guys here, but it's okay. I've moved my trebuchet over a bit to get better angles, but we don't have a lot of success here because not enough of our units hit the walls, and I think we end up running ourselves out of ammo before we can do much about it. But this gives us sort of a precious time to regroup our numbers and refresh our men. As you can see here, very heavy losses for Pixelated Apollo. He lost almost his entire army. In fact, he lost all his heavy infantry, to be honest, except for this unit really, and that's not so good. We needed to try and conserve those for the siege. I'm still pretty good cavalry wise, still great infantry wise, as is Polish, and Swedes is fairly strong as well. Actually, yeah, Swedes is strong too. So it really was Apollo who took the beating there in that particular phase of the battle, and it does make a difference later on because some of his cavalry units especially were lost in this fight quite quickly, and they would have been very handy in this fight inside the city. And normally cav is not that handy inside cities, but it turns out to be a bit of a different case in this battle. But let's go back to triple speed. It's interesting here how Paladinbob has made no effort to guard the entryways. That's something I wouldn't have done, to be honest. I mean, something I would have done rather. I wouldn't have let us any chance of getting in. With only 2 entryways, it wouldn't be that difficult to block us, and he could still put men up on the walls and would have no means of getting at them. I would not have allowed anyone to get inside the city. It's, in my opinion, when it comes to sieges, it's always best to stop them at the walls because it's much harder for them to get their numbers down at the walls. So if you stop them at the walls, then, you know, like for instance, if Bob had put some guys up here, archers up here, archers up here, archers up here, and then put a bunch of infantry here, every time we'd attack, we'd be under serious archer fire and tower fire, and there'd be no other means for us to get in. So I reckon he should have put men at the walls, but he decides on something different, so we'll see where he goes with that. So now we're steadily advancing up, as you can see. At this stage we're just over halfway. So if you guys want to skip ahead to some of the action, feel free to do so. So Swedes is now pouring in, and Bob has made no effort to stop us. And I was initially pleased with this result because this allows us an easy entryway. As I said, I would have definitely stopped entry into the walls by any means necessary. We're going to start pouring in now. Now our plan at this stage was just to get up onto the walls, and even if we don't defeat his archers, we stop them firing us so that when we attack the centre we can take it out, because this centre is not strong. Except for these Al-Haka, they are not strong. Our infantry is much superior, and at this stage of the fight, as you can see, it was significantly in our favour at this stage. We were quite confident at this stage of the fight. But here you can see these Kazaki make some nice strikes through here and rout these spear militia. And this is where we start to seriously regret not being able to kill those cav units before they got inside, because they make all the difference in this siege, pretty much, once we're inside the city. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get comfortable. As you can see, fire arrows are coming down us now, which is lowering our morale. And as you can see, we're pushing through here. We're just trying to organise ourselves here, but as you can see, these bodyguards are constantly here, and we need to get our cav into the city sooner. So yeah, we're going to push up. As you can see, these bodyguards keep coming through. This missile fire coming through, and these bodyguards just mow our troops down over and over and over again. These bodyguards and the Kazaki seriously just absolutely rip our troops apart multiple times in this fight. Swedes is pushed up onto the walls, just trying to make sure these guys are not going to come in behind us at a later stage in the fight. And he's going to steadily grind them down. He's putting up more troops now. These unhorsed knights. And at this stage, I push some of my dismounted feudal knights up in the hopes of dislodging these Al-Haka infantry, so as to seize these towers and stop them firing at us. And Pixelated Apollo is going to support, but he's under a lot of archer fire. Here are the Hashashim up here. No, they're not. Where are the Hashashim? I know they're here somewhere. He has got some.
But as you can see, the constant barrage of arrows and cav strikes from these cav is tearing up Apollo's men immensely. Now I pour in infantry here, but he's got the number advantage, and my guys take a pretty serious beating. If I hit, Apollo's trying to support me here. He was trying to push around and attack from multiple angles. Over here we've pushed forward a bit, but we're a bit clumped. I'm trying to use my spearmen to screen because their constant charges are doing a lot of damage. We should have had our cav into the city sooner, but there's not a lot of room to work with, and we can only really attack from up here and up here, because if we try going all the way around here we're going to be exposed to all these archers on the walls for flank shots, so we couldn't really make that move. So Bob placed his archers very strategically. Up here we're still grinding our way forwards, and we're doing a pretty good job against these units here, but Bob in a moment is going to send the Hashashim unit to come and help. Here it is here on its way, which is problematic because that's an extremely powerful infantry unit in a siege. We've got the Great Cross here, which is doing lots of morale boost work for Jerusalem. But over here we're constantly getting barraged by archer fire and massive cav charges from Vet and from Captain Invisible's bodyguards. Here we can see this battle up here is still going on nicely, but it is going into Egypt's favour. And with these Hashashim on the way, it's only going to get that much harder. Again, here comes more cav strikes. And we're trying to coordinate our men here as best as we can. Our cav's coming in. We really should have had our cav in here a lot sooner. This was a mistake that I admit we made. And here again we've got to make sure infantry's not going ahead. These guys have got their flanks turned here, not good. We need to have these guys back and further here, protecting them better. And look, Polish's guys are exposed to a cav charge, and let's have a look. They go from 53 down to 31. He lost 20 men in just like 2 seconds of charge, and this is why we needed to make sure we had placed our units better and to keep screening with infantry with spears, because these cavalry units just devastate us in this siege. And as you can see by now, look, we had about a 25% advantage. Now we only have a 4% advantage. So I mean, once we got inside the city, the battle became that much harder. And I'm trying to use my spears, these levy spearmen, just to stop this from happening over here. But these guys from Polish, their flanks are open and turned, and they're getting crapped on in the flank. So he needs to pull them back and get them in here. But I don't think he noticed it. And again, much like out here, there was a lot of open units that got hit by the cav. As you can see, a lot of French units there. Some of the spears, but the spears are okay because the spears are screening. So up here, my levy spearmen are pushing around, and at this stage we need to get attacking. I said to them, guys, if we can make a breach through the centre and we just grab the centre of the town square and hold it for 3 minutes, we'll win the battle by default. So we're going to try and work for that, and we'll just keep his archers busy for as long as we possibly can. So yeah, at this stage we reinforce the walls, and we are doing, it's pretty even up there. The Hashashim are making it tricky, although they've been pulled out, I think. And apologies for that, guys, if I'm coughing. It's just because I'm talking so much and my throat's getting kind of tickly. But anyway, we start pushing our infantry forward here, but the problem is we do not break these spearmen fast enough, and it's difficult not to get clumped. And our flanks are turned in places, and as you can see, there's fire arrows coming in, which is reducing our morale. Our men are somewhat tired, but we're still doing good. But we can't come from this way because Bob would just have an absolute field day with those missiles. He's placed them very, very well. We were trying to push through here to try and get to his missiles and push them back, but it just wasn't happening. And over here, we were I was telling the other guys to walk through and forward. You can actually walk your men through and push through here, because a lot of these guys are just clumping and getting nowhere, and they're taking missile fire in the process. We need to quickly and rapidly break these spearmen, which is very frustrating that these crappy light spearmen just did not break under all these knights. Very annoying. They held out there when they really shouldn't have.
my throat's getting dry. And I don't have any water, but there's still a long way to go. I'm that dedicated. I've got to get the siege going. But anyway, we try breaking through here. But the fire arrows and all these archer hits are doing a lot of damage, and there's constant hits coming in from these bodyguard units in our back are making this very, very tricky indeed. And anyway, you see, we are eventually breaking through here, but we're not having a lot of success. We've got our missile units on the flank, and we are getting a few pop shots in, but the angle is not very good. Because even though it's not much of an obstruction, it's still considered an obstruction, so the hits are not that good. There are a few little hits in his flank there. Again, excuse my coughing, it's really nothing except my throat getting dry from my constant chatting. But we finally get our break, and we're going to push the centre as aggressively as we can. Now Polish has done an alright move here with his spearmen screening the flanks here. And we got one of the generals, but this was not Saladin, this was one of the other generals. I forgot who the other Arab generals were in this battle. But anyway, we start pushing forward, but we're very, very worn down at this stage. And it does become a very, very tricky... it was very hard to get to the centre because there was only one way to go. We couldn't come this way because our flanks would have just been absolutely shredded by these archers, so it was very hard to get our troops to push all the way through this, and we're under constant barrage of fire arrows and normal arrows. Very clever on Bob's part because he's lowering morale with some and he's getting armor, well, not armor piercing, but the most damaging hits with regular, so he's doing a mixture of both. And although our knights are certainly better than their infantry, that we can't apply our force down here because there's no way to get around them. So here we got our bodyguards coming up and through here, and we're pushing on and forward. And as you can see, we've got fire arrows of our own coming down. We're managing to keep these guys on the wall busy, such as his Hashashim. Good thing that they're out of the way. But we start to do alright. We start to get some breaches going on here, and we've still got some pretty good numbers. We're trying to push our cav through and around the back. As you can see, I've got my feudal knights here trying to smash up his infantry, but they get kind of stuck in the melee and they get ground down. So basically it's not a very great tactic, but all we can really do is just try and use force to push our way through. But as you can see, the bar is now against us. Bob's defence has been resolute, and those constant and just devastating charges from those Egyptian bodyguard units has severely hampered our approach. But we are pushing forward and we are making pretty good ground here. But we're losing way too many men in the process, and it was looking at this stage like, yeah, I think we're going to lose, because we still got to get through these Al-Haqqa infantry that are at 71 and these archer units here. But what we're trying to do is quickly destroy the town square. We'll conquer the town square and just hold it for 3 minutes and would win by default, which isn't really glorious, but we're exploiting the game a bit there. But we knew that we wouldn't win any other way at this point, because it really was very difficult to find entry points here. As I showed, there was really very little means to deal with those archer units on the walls, and we didn't have a lot of siege gear to assist ourselves with that. Or I also noticed we have very few archers or missile units of our own in this fight to use, which made it that much harder again. But we're getting some pretty good results now towards the centre, but he's now pushed his Al-Haqqa infantry inwards, and the fight is still on. We're fighting pretty damn hardcore in the centre, but we're pretty worn down. I think Bob is out of missiles now, but these guys are still pretty decent in a melee fight if need be, with their little... What do they use actually? That looks funny. Oh, look at these tiny little daggers. There you go, they look pretty massed out amongst my infantry there. But this battle's still got some epicness in it yet, don't you be worrying. Look at Richard just smashing his way forward there. And this is where it comes in very good, because all the kings start kicking a lot of ass in this fight. Look at this, look. let's check out Phillip. Phillip just smashing his way forward. Like, what a badass. Look at him, he's just chopping everyone down. Look at him ripping into everyone. And look, King Guy here. I mean, it's awesome watching these the kings. These guys are not just generals, these are kings. And they're duking it out like total badasses right in the centre of Acre here, fighting on to victory. Some of the guys regroup. But at this stage, it's just a battle of attrition, and we took too much trying to get to here. But as I said, there was really very little we could do. We could have, I think, Polish and Apollo could have watched more from those cav charges, which severely thinned our infantry. But overall, it was very tricky. And I mean, it really is still a fantastic battle to watch, because we still end up fighting this one out right down to the bitter end. And we're working on getting as many cav charges as possible. Here we have some of these Armenians of Cilicia. These are archers. All the archers are now in the battle with each other. It's how close it's coming. And unfortunately, the first king to die is Philip of France. Very unfortunate there. But then Guy's coming in for some badass vengeance. I loved this when we were playing it. It was so epic. It was like, at this stage, we knew we were going to lose, but I mean, look at it. Both of us are at about 90% destruction. And we're fighting on as hard as we can here. And we've got the generals. The generals are just so badass. Look at these kings just going at it. Like they're just going at it all out. It was awesome. And it was just a total grind down to victory here. I mean, the kings of Jerusalem and England, and we've still got the Holy Roman Empire pushing through, and then Guy gets killed as well. So we're 2 kings down, and we at this stage we'd given ourselves a new goal. We didn't care if we were going to win. Saladin had to die. That was what was going to happen. We had to kill him. We had to kill him. And I don't think that wasn't Saladin. That was the other general. That was Bob's general, I think. Here is Saladin here. This is him here, and you can see he just whacked one of those generals from the Jerusalem army. So at this stage we actually achieved our capture of the city. So we just thought, right, let's just fight it out as hard as we can. And Swedes has still got his general. Look at him. Look at this German general just travelling through the back of these archers. Look, get out of my way, bitches! It was funny. We were having a seriously good time. But anyway, and we were just literally just cutting our way through these guys. And here's Saladin here, and we just seriously wanted to kill him so badly at this stage. We've still got Richard and we've still got Leopold. I mean, Leopold, you badass, just travelling through the back of the archers. I can just imagine Swedes doing this in real life. He'll be sitting there with his red Viking beard, stroking it and swinging his axe around like... It was so funny because we'd lost the battle, but these generals just wouldn't stop. That was awesome. And we're seeing all this action here. And anyway, yeah, so we're still fighting it out, and some of our units are regrouped. And we start sending our archers and everything in, and then look at the stats here, 94 for them and 93 for us. I mean, it's crazy talk. It's as funny as. We were having such a laugh at this point. This is with the laughable and most epic part of the battle, in my opinion. So here comes Richard with his 2 boys, and they just start wasting everything. It's hilarious. And we can see Saladin rolling around the back there, and we were just so wanting to kill him at this point. We didn't care if we were going to win, and we had to put down Saladin. He caused enough strife with the Crusaders, so he has to be put down. So I end up pouring in my archers here just to busy the infantry, and here we see Saladin coming in for the action. And it must have been it was Vet who had Saladin, it seems, but here we can see it's like they're cancelling each other out. Leopold, Saladin and Richard having this tussle here. It is epic stuff. And the battle goes on, and we keep fighting it out hardcore. We're trying to get him here. The infantry missile fight's going to them, obviously, because archer militia are crap. But we didn't care at this point. Saladin had to die. And here we go. Look at this, Richard and Saladin duking it out, and then the German Leopold's in there as well. Let's see. And it's 2 versus 1. Europe versus Islam. Let's see. And we end up duking it out here, and I mean, look at these badass duels, and it carries on, and and we get him. We got that Egyptian Saracen. we were absolutely roaring for joy at that. That was me and Swedes. I mean, look, me and Swedes there, Englishmen and German hand to hand, raising their swords. It was epic. And anyway, but at this stage we're stuffed. I mean, we've pretty much routed everyone, but we didn't care. Saladin was dying, and that was final. He had to go. So Swedes goes in for the glory charge, and we're going in and we're just striking them out here, and then he goes down as well. So I am the last man on the field. The last man on the Crusader team is in fact Richard himself, and I got a bit of lag there, and I will not tolerate lag. And so Richard is the last Crusader on the field, and I could not have imagined a more appropriate thing if we were going to lose. And look at him, he's just tearing these guys up, and I just managed to repeat this like 6 times. And we were just absolutely loving this at this point. It was just, honestly, this was brilliant. This couldn't have been a better outcome, I don't think, even though we're going to lose. I mean, Richard, look at him, what a badass. No wonder he was called the Lionheart. Oh, it's starting to lag. I don't want it to lag. Stop lagging, please. So yeah, Richard just keeps coming in and out for battle. He's not given up. I'm just going to counter, but I don't know why it started lagging. That's really annoying. There we go, it stopped there, thankfully. But yeah, look at him go. I mean, what a badass. He really is the Lionheart. And we were just laughing so much at this point. It was so epic. I mean, these generals' bodyguards brought this battle so much closer than we thought it was going to be. Again, I'm going to pause. I don't know why it started lagging. That's very irritating. It's always something that craps on it for us. Stop lagging. Wow. Crap. Stupid lag. I can't understand why it's lagging. There's less troops on the field now than there was before. But anyway, yeah, Richard's just not giving up. I keep charging him in and out and in and out and in and out, and hoping that he would just get these epic kills. And then the archers rout again. Even with Richard there, they can't hold it out. But he's like, I'm the King of England. I'm not dying. And he just keeps on going. It keeps on keeping on. This has to be the funniest stuff we've seen in a long time. I really want to see more general action in the future. If you watch this Emperor of the Unknown, keep up the upgrades on the general. I love this. This is hilarious stuff. I'm sure they were thinking, what the hell? Why isn't he dying already? It was just so funny. I mean, look at him, he's like torn through like 20 men on his own, then finally he's down. It's a tragic loss for England. And that is it. That was the Siege of Acre. I think it was brilliant. I could not have asked for a more better battle to open this series with than this. It was epic. It was totally fun. And they just managed to take it. Look at that, 97% to 96%. I think that couldn't, even though we lost, history was rewritten, ladies and gentlemen. You have to remember, in real life, the Crusaders won this battle. But between Paladinbob-Ayyubids from the Brotherhood and Captain Invisible, they have changed history. But let's not forget how badass these kings are. I mean, seriously, look at Paladinbob there with 1,213 kills. He seriously just took his team through on the end there, but he had excellent support from Captain Invisible, it must have been Medhat, and Vet would have been Sultan Saladin. So if we look at my statistics, look at the bodyguard, 182 kills and 46 captures. And then we have some crossbowmen. Wait, no, sorry, this is not my kills. These are Polish Legion's kills, because he sent me the replay. Yeah, so 182 kills for his general. I think I had about 190 kills. If we look at my stats here, 515, 354 for Polish, 567 for Pixelated Apollo, and 367 for Swedes, although he's got significant captures, as does Polish. So, Polish's infantry didn't do very well, to be honest. His crossbowmen did okay, his general did good, but his guys got a lot of rear flank shots, which didn't work too well for him. It was kind of I think in a lot of ways we kind of screwed it up ourselves, because it was very difficult to siege it though, because you don't have any really good missile units in support, and you don't have a lot of siege equipment, so it was very difficult on the siege side. I mean, the outside battle outside the walls wasn't that hard, but once we were inside it was a lot harder. But needless to say, the bodyguards from, especially the Saladin's unit, and the bodyguards from Vet and Captain Invisible were very devastating, and Bob placed his archers excellently all around the walls, and no matter what angles we were at, he was constantly getting flank shots and those fire shots, and it was very difficult because we could only attack from two angles, which turned, and they kind of converged into one spot, so we couldn't help but get clumped up. It's actually quite difficult to siege it, to be honest. It's not hard, difficult against the AI, but against human players who can coordinate, it is actually quite difficult to siege. But I thought this battle had it all. It had drama, it had tactics, it had laughter, it had epicness, it had it all. And I think it was the brilliant, most perfect start to this series. So huge thanks to all those guys for playing. I massively enjoyed it. Massive thanks to Frederick Smith for suggesting I have a look in the files there, and it turns out I was able to save this replay. And thank you, Polish, for not playing Medieval 2 since Sunday or Saturday. Otherwise this wouldn't have been able to be done. So thanks guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, it'll be Saturday, or the coming Saturday, that we'll do the Battle of Marathon. I will put an update video up for that at some point soon. It'll be at the same times. It'll be, you'll need to put that on Rome Total War. I will make a video showing you how to do so, and I'll show you all the specifics soon. So hopefully you can join that. Please leave comments, guys. Please, please, please. Even if you're only dropping by this guys, please leave comments this time, because this battle was epic, and I want to know what you guys thought and how you felt about it. So thanks for watching, and of course, wait, I haven't stopped. There's more channels here. There's Pixelated Apollo, there's Swedes, and there's Polish Legion, and there's Paladinbob, so I'll link all of those channels in the description. I don't think the other two have channels, so I'll link all those channels in the description. Be sure to drop by and check them out, and be looking forward to the Battle of Marathon for Rome Total War on the coming Saturday. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon next time.